Hi everyone. So let's just take a look a bit into the future. For some of us, it may be our reality right now. But just imagine that you may work a full-time 9 to 5 job. You're a salaried person, you just graduated from college, but you work that 9 to 5 job receiving the minimum wage that you were receiving since you were in college. Now, let's throw in the hash ball of life. You may have rent to pay, which you did not have to pay when you were going to college. You may have utility bills to pay, your car insurance, your credit notes, also buy your own food, buy your own supplies to maintain your own personal lifestyle, to take part in leisure activities, but also to make sure that you have a roof over your head and you have the necessities or the basic things of life. No, with all this, you're still making that minimum wage. So, this is why I chose to speak about the topic the federal minimum wage should be increased. And my main purpose of my presentation here today will be to persuade the audience or to persuade you guys that the federal minimum wage should be increased. Focused around the central idea that the federal minimum wage should be increased because it will help reduce poverty, facilitate a healthier population, and improve the quality and life of many people. So, firstly, if you work right now, you work to put yourself through school, it would be considered differently than someone who is just working for that extra money. So them making that minimum wage compared to you, they may feel that the minimum wage right now that they are receiving is going a long way or that they're doing along with it. But you who are a salary worker with all these bills and responsibilities, you do not see it like that. So even with a full-time salaried job, with your big job making all your money, we still often wonder about other payments, for example, our school fees and materials, textbooks, or merely being able to afford our necessity leisure times items. Now, can you imagine having to worry about where your next meal comes from? Or how will you be able to afford to remain in your low-end apartment? All across America, several people face these challenges daily and can see no possible way of getting out of their current situation. Speaking from my own personal example, my parents always encouraged me to volunteer in many charitable organizations in Dominica, where I could experience the challenges firsthand and help in any way possible. Not being healthy myself, I got to meet many persons who are employed and earning that minimum wage and were burdened because they could not afford basic necessities. Just to recap again that throughout this presentation, I will highlight the three main points as to why I took this stance to support the increase of the minimum wage. Firstly, by informing you about the federal minimum wage and poverty, then about an increase can promote a healthier population, and lastly, I will inform you about an increase and how it can reduce crime rates. Let's find out some information about the relationship between minimum wage and poverty. You may think that there is not a link, but I will show you that there is. Increasing the federal minimum wage could decrease poverty. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, the current federal minimum wage stands at 7.25 and has not increased since July 2009. The cost of living has increased drastically since 2009 and the minimum wage has not taken into account inflation. Many people who earn minimum wage cannot afford the basic necessities such as food, clothing, and shelter, especially for those of large families. The 2014 Congressional Office report stated that increasing the minimum wage to $9 would leave 300,000 people out of poverty, and increase to 10.1 would fit 900,000 people out of poverty. An increase, secondly, an increase will also promote better health. Persons who earn minimum federal wage are more likely to suffer from mental illnesses. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration states The rates of adults experiencing mental illness is higher amongst those families of low income and those who are below the federal poverty line. Most of these persons will not be able to afford services to address their mental health issues and may resort to other forms of relief such as cigarettes or drugs, which also have negative effects on the body. Finally, a reduction in crime rates may result for an increased federal minimum wage. Many persons feel helpless and resort to crime when they feel like there is no other way to obtain their basic necessities. As stated by Zachary Fon et al., raising the minimum wage to $12 by 2020, which is actually this year, would result in a 3 to 5% crime decrease from 250,000 to 510,000 crimes. Some people may cause crimes because they are venting their frustration. In conclusion, I have presented evidence to you that the federal minimum wage and some of the negative effects that results from the low salary. The federal minimum wage is overdue for an increase since the cost of living has changed. And finally, the increase may foster the reduction of poverty, an increase in health, and a reduction of crime. Thank you so much for listening.